all hope seems to die when he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always side to side, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night, and this is the final word on the weekend's action. Extra time phone-in show, of course, normally on a Sunday night. So because we played Palace yesterday on a Sunday, of course, we're bringing it and doing. We've got a lot to talk about tonight as well. Before I get stuck into it and introduce my guests for tonight, as always, just want to say a big thank you to the wonderful people over at Creation Wolf for powering tonight's show. May make sure that we can, pay for the streaming software to run these shows for you. They give you the latest, most advanced digital solutions, taking your brand and online presence and capabilities to the next level. You can find them on creationwolf.com. Their link is in the description below. So tonight, guys and gals, we're going to be talking and unpacking everything from this week, which includes talking about Crystal Palace 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. The game, and obviously everything that's come out of that. We'll be talking, of course, about the racial abuse for Tolu, but also other footballers and hate, online hate in general. We will also then be talking about this week's fans advisory board meeting that's last week that's taken place, and the minutes that have been released by Wolves, focusing, of course, on the season ticket latest. We'll be looking ahead to Friday night against our local rivals, current local rivals in the Premier League, Aston Villa, and then we'll be doing a Q&A at the end. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce my first guest and good friend. Just got back in from his latest road trip. It's Manny. How you doing, mate?
I can't hear you, Dave.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear anything.
Can't hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anybody. I can't even hear myself.
Oh. Emma, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just bring on Jack. Can you hear me, Jack?
Yeah. Yeah, something wrong because I can't hear anybody.
Okay. We can hear you, Manny. If you
can
hear me...
I'll try and log on and off. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear anybody. I can't hear anybody.
We can.
I've got the mic on. Everything's on.
Back on, isn't it? Yeah.
My volume's up.
Hear you. I'm just messaging. Sorry about this start to the show,
strange.
guys.
Can I just drop off and then come back?
Yes. Fantastic. So we do have Manny. So sorry about that. We were literally talking to him, weren't we, Jack and Emma, before before we went live. Yeah. Fine. And then he's lost them. Anyway, my other guest tonight is Em. Representing Girls in Old Gold. How are you, Emma?
I'm good, thank you. A little bit on the tired side. Long day yesterday.
Didn't get in till really late. And it is the voice of reason himself, Jack. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not so bad. Keep battling, don't we? Like Emma said, long day yesterday. But people know, I missed a huge sort of chunk of the season around November, December while I was having surgery. So it's nice to go back to away games and have those long days out. So it's something that you're grateful for, isn't it? So no complaining from me.
What your surgery was for, if anyone's missed it previously?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with skin cancer about early October. So November time, I had to have some surgery to remove the cancerous cells and sort of have the skin grafted back together. So that's kind of been a long process of recovery. There's no sign of spread in the arm at the minute. They're still checking one or two other areas to make sure it hasn't spread anywhere else. So I'm still having a lot of tests and biopsies and things like that. So Not out of the woods yet, but things are looking a little bit more positive than they were a couple of months ago. So that's good news.
Fantastic. Well, let's hope that Manny's can hear us now. Hi, Manny. Can you
I
hear
can
us?
hear you. Thank you for having me, Dave. I can hear you all. And, you know, Jack, we missed you. Obviously, that was the missing link. Now you're back. I'm sure our fortunes will turn. And it's good to see you fit and healthy as well as you can. And we're all with you and the rest of the fan base as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Steve said, great to see you back. Mikan said, things will always get better. Cyborg says, positive thinking to you, Jack. The people I've missed, we do get a lot of messages asking about you and stuff. So it's great for you to see. Manny, literally, mate, you've just been on a road trip today with the railway. I mean, you do a lot of work around schools, colleges, educating people on the railway, and but you don't necessarily always travel on the train. So you're driving today, and you literally got back 10 minutes before the show. So thank you for making it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm pleased to make it. Obviously, Dave will probably tell everyone it's got some real serious issues to talk about as well.
We have got some really serious issues to talk about tonight, and we will get stuck into those. But we do have some video contributions up the top of the show. So we've got 3 video contributions. I haven't listened to them. So it'll be the first time that Emma, Manny, Jack, and me have listened to these that have been sent in, and then we'll get stuck straight into yesterday's game, and that'll lead on to all the other things. So, but you know, people saying good to see you as well, Manny. And Manny will be giving us an update on his latest crazy fundraising challenge for dementia before the end of the show. So first of all, this is Chris from Highsfeld in Norway with what he's got to say.
Chris from Eidsvoll in Norway, and it's another weekend, and it's another match reactions, the same old story. This time, this latest defeat away at Crystal Palace, and unlike in previous weeks when I've come on and I've said that was on Rob Edwards, this absolutely was not. This team, in terms of footballing intelligence, are absolutely brain dead, as is shown throughout that game. First and foremost, now I can tell you, before that penalty, Tolu lined it up and he wasn't going to score. And I'll tell you why. Anyone who's played a game of football at any particular level can tell you that he doesn't strike a ball particularly well. It's pretty obvious, and particularly he loses composure in front of the goal. I knew in my own mind exactly what was going to happen when he lined that penalty up, and it happened. Game changes. Ridiculous 2 yellow cards for Krejci after half time. And it's done, isn't it? After, 60 minutes, even though Palace hadn't scored, they were always going to score. It's game done. Now this team, like all other teams who aren't very good, they find a way of losing a game. But in reality, after the first 45 minutes, they were never, ever going to lose. Look, at the end of the day, another weekend ruined. They've same for all of us. But listen, this lot are just no good. They're just no good. They'll always find a way to ruin it. That's it. Nothing else to say.
Next up, we have New York Dave.
From a cold and snowy Connecticut. I'll try and make this quick. We're getting like 12, 18 inches of snow in the next 24 hours. So sums up our season, I think. A game where we didn't play great, but we weren't, dominated by any stretch. Okay, it's Palace. They haven't been playing well, but you think about both games against Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Spurs, Brighton, both games against Newcastle. We gave them a good run. We held our own. But then in most of those cases, when it came down to kind of the crucial moments that change games, Tolu floats his penalty and Gesson scores. That's our season right there, right? No, we lack that little bit of quality, that little bit of composure, that little bit of luck, and walk away from a decent performance with nothing. But that's on us, right? That's our players not having that composure and touch, but it's also down to the club essentially systematically downgrading their squad over the last 3 or 4 years. And we've ended up with this squad that now doesn't have a Neves who can pull out a 95th minute free kick to beat Villa, right? Or Raul to, you know, take a nice touch and score that winner, you know, whatever. So that's the situation we're in. The only other thing I want to say, I just watched that Krejci second yellow card, and honestly, what's the guy's name? Will Hughes. Didn't he have like 3 or 4 kind of yellow cardish offences in the first half? And the referee at the time, you think, okay, he's giving him the benefit of the doubt. Good. You know, nobody wants to see a player sent off and teams reduced to 10 men. So again, the benefit of the doubt, it came off at half time. But then both of Krejci's yellow, actually, I'm not even sure the first one was a yellow. I'm not sure he even touched him. The second one, he thinks he's kept the ball in play, goes to the corner flag and clears it, and gets a yellow card for it. So it just feels like yet another case of letter of the law for Wolves, benefit of the doubt for the other team. And I almost, I love sarcasm in case you haven't noticed. So I almost feel like, you know, I'm starting to think of this as we're going to get promoted to the Championship next season. Because honestly, there's no VAR and there's no favoritism. There's no teams hanging around with 115 charges over their heads. So maybe next season will be an upgrade. Who knows? Anyway, Wolves, anyway, on to Villa.
Yeah, great to see Dave braving the cold. And finally, our video contributions have been sent in. We've got Asia all the way from Italia.
I'm here. So first half just ended, and for now I'd say Crystal Palace and us were on the same level. Nothing particularly important to underline except from the fact that we are given a penalty once in a blue moon and we missed the chance. But apart from this one and Mosquera's error in the very early minutes that could have ended really, really badly, I'd say yes, nothing particularly important to underline. But there is now the second half, so see you later, and let's hope for a goal and a win, a draw, a point, 3, that would be a dream, but let's see the second half, okay? See you later. Hello, it's still me, 15 minutes to go, more or less, 15-20 minutes, and if we are lucky, this will end 0-0, but we are not lucky, and most of all, we're playing a bit rubbish. So I doubt it, but who knows? Hello, it's 5 p.m, it's ended, and while in the first half we said we only missed a penalty, we can now say that we played the second half with no ball possession, down to 10 men, and that we were extremely lucky it only ended 1-0. Even though I don't like the word lucky and unlucky, because this means you deserve or don't deserve things, and yeah, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're unlucky, but right now it's not a question. No, sorry, that's not English. Sorry, I'm mixing English, Dutch, and Italian. Oh yeah, it's not a matter of being lucky and unlucky, it's a matter of being a good team and good at football. And right now we're not a good team, we're not good at football. We haven't been since I don't even recall. And I really don't feel like saying head up and on to the next one like I usually do. First of all, because the next one is against Villa. Second of all, because it could be against any League 2 team. We would probably lose that anyway. So at this point, I think many of us are just waiting for the season to end. So no head up, but on to the next one. Let's say that.
That made me, I hadn't actually seen that. She's never done that before, Azia, where she's actually clipped herself as going through the game. So I did smile with that, how she reacted through the match. Listen, Jack, I'm going to bring you in first.
I think she was just trying to tell us that Wolves are crap.
Bless her, she is great. And she, look, you know what? She supports Wolves from Italy. She travels over as well. Couple of times a year to go and support the lads as well. So she is a proper fan, and she watches all the games. But like, she did make me laugh there. Jack, let's come in with you first on the game yesterday and how you feel about it, and whether you feel like that was actually a microcosm of our season in one 90-odd minute game.
I think it probably was, wasn't it? I mean, I wrote down that we were kind of our own worst enemies yet again. I think, as he has said there was nothing in the game. Crystal Palace were average to poor, if you're being honest, and I think their fans would probably agree with that. I mean, they were holding up banners to get rid of the manager, the board, the tea lady, everything, weren't they? So they're obviously on a bit of a sticky patch at the minute. Nothing in the game. Obviously, most of the chances kind of came through errors. Obviously, they had the chance in the first half when Mosquera under hit the back pass and the guy put it over, but just too high. And then, we had the penalty, which is a poor challenge from Wharton, isn't it? Which perhaps could have been on another day could have been interpreted as a red card as well. I think if you kind of look at the sort of the letter of the law. But yeah, because everything we do at the minute is underpinned by this lack of quality that we've kind of talked about again and again. When it gets to those key moments in games, we just haven't got it. You watch a Premier League football game, any Premier League football game, it's sort of 95, 100 minutes of football, but you can boil it down to 2, 3, 4 key moments in every single game: a chance, a penalty, a set piece, a potential red card, a potential offside. Pretty much every time we play, those key moments, we don't grasp them. They fall away, slip through our hands, like sand. And you saw it yesterday. The penalty's a great opportunity. We played really well first half. We get the penalty, chance to go 1-0 up, which we'd have deserved, and we don't take the opportunity. And you're thinking at half-time, we shouldn't be drawing 0-0. We should be ahead. And I just hope that doesn't come back to haunt us. And it absolutely did. And then you look at the red card again. Now, I'm going to sort of play devil's advocate a little bit. And I blame the referee more than I blame Krejci for that red card. So I'm going to kind of absolve him of blame a tiny bit there, because I don't think he's necessarily done a lot wrong. I think he thinks he's kept the ball in play, and so he's played it along the line. And I don't think he realises that the assistant has flagged. So I think that there's perhaps an element there where we've been a little bit unlucky. But as soon as we go down to 10 men, we don't react very well. We kind of just go, okay, let's just sit back and have what we've got. We kind of forgot almost that we'd played pretty well and we'd had them under pressure. And we just went, oh, we've got 10 men now, so we'll just have to sit and we'll have to hold what we've got. So, and when you do that, you're kind of always at risk of a moment, and I think the goal was quite avoidable as well. We didn't put enough pressure on the cross, and then people don't pick up runners and things, which again is happened a lot this season. So it's kind of one of those where shouldn't have lost the game, but you can see exactly why we did. And it's kind of been the story of our season, really. We were talking just before we started, weren't we? You listed sort of 6-7 games where we'd played well enough to pick something up, but hadn't, because we'd missed chances, or we'd given away poor goals, or we'd scored an own goal, or we'd had a silly red card at a stupid time. And it's just kind of like you said, the story of our season is that, we put ourselves into positions sometimes and then throw it away through ultimately a lack of quality. Is kind of what we've been saying all season, isn't it? This group of players, and you can't fault the effort the majority of the time. The effort is there, the commitment is there, but this is the Premier League, and it doesn't matter how hard you fight and how hard you work. If you're not good enough, you'll get found out time and time and time again. There's no hiding place in the Premier League. You can get away with it in the Championship or in Serie A or in Ligue 1. You can kind of get away with it. The Premier League, you can't. Every single game is against a tough team with top players. You go to Crystal Palace away and you don't take your chances, you're going to get punished. You go to Crystal Palace away and you get a player sent off, you're going to struggle. You go to Crystal Palace away and you give away a stupid goal because you don't pick up a runner, that's what's going to happen. And that's kind of the story of our season, isn't it? Like you said.
In a microcosm. Emma, you were there, obviously. Your take on yesterday? That Jack, first of all, fantastic analysis, spot on, mate. Loads of people are saying that in the chat. Emma, come in with your thoughts, and then Manny, I'm going to come to you.
Well, I thought Selhurst Park was a pretty nervy place yesterday. I thought, it was a poor game. Don't get me wrong, it was a poor game of football all round. But Wolves, we looked a stronger team, particularly in the first half. And we very nearly could have got something, whether it was a point, whether it was 3 points. But it's always nearly, isn't it? We never quite get there. There's always those moments that we have these great big chances to, you know, score a penalty, the red card, and we've got these key moments, and we just fail every single time. There's nothing really going in our favour, and I think it's largely down to confidence and composure, and it's something that we just don't have. So it was a bit of a nearly match for me. Nearly did it, but how many times have we said nearly? It just, I don't know. We just need to stop talking about these fine margins and actually fix these key points.
Well said. Exactly. I mean, I listed a few games earlier on in the like I said before we were chatting, we were talking beyond the scenes. I'm going to bring Manny in a second, but like Tottenham, Brighton, Burnley, Villa. We could go on. There's so many games which we should have got more points out of, and we've found a way not to for one reason or another. And I mean, Arsenal away as well is another example. We scored an own goal after equalising. We did get our own back a little bit on for only probably a best bit of joy of the season in the week. But we did it again, didn't we, Manny?
Yeah, so I didn't go, but I watched it on the box. And the one thing for me is none of our defeats, maybe give Man City the first game, nobody has had to play well to beat us. All the teams that we've lost against have been under par. Crystal Palace, that was the worst Crystal Palace side I think I've seen since we've been back in the Premier League.
Mate, they hadn't won at home since November. They'd not won in 8. They're not the same Crystal Palace team from 12 months ago when they were, on fire.
There's some really quality players. Yeah, so this is the problem. This is the whole highlighting of our lack of quality. That even when teams don't play well, they still get the better of us. If a team's played much better than us, we just think, well, that we couldn't live with them today. They were brilliant. But how many times have we said that about the opposition? Hardly any. Hardly any time. We've been beaten by teams who haven't had to play well. And it's a damning sort of indictment on our recruitment, our squad, our ability that we have on the pitch. It's just not good enough. It's not just, it is confidence and composure, but because we just haven't got that type of player, we haven't got the level of player. Some of these players with time may develop and become, but we haven't got that time. Premier League, like Jack says, doesn't give you that time. You have to be good enough straight away, especially in that first 11. Now, the other thing I have to highlight about this season is we've passed the armband around about 5 times. I've calculated 8 different players have taken corners and free kicks so far. And we've had 3 penalty takers. No, those 3 things were always Moutinho, Neves and Raul. It was like, you didn't even have to think about that. And the captain was Cody. So it's none of that structure is in place. And at no time has any manager even addressed that structure. So it's like, well, this is my captain. No one's ever came out and said, Jose Sarr will be my captain. It's just when he turns up on the pitch and you think, oh, Sarr's captain today. And then Doherty plays. Oh, Doc's captain today. Oh, Doherty's gone off. I think he's gone to Joe Gomez. Oh, bloody hell. It's just been tossed around, and the corner taking, the penalty taking. Somebody tell us from the club, our club penalty taker is. Nobody's got a clue. It's almost like, do you want to take it? No, you take it. Shall I take it? No, I'll have a go. Even when Hwang used to pick up the ball, there used to be people coming up to him and saying, oh, shall I have it? No, I want it. So it's like, no, that should be decided on the training ground. What's all that about? You are our penalty taker, and if you're not on the pitch, you are. That's it. It's just simple basics that have not been addressed by the hierarchy who manages the football club, and that's the coaching, the training, what you do on the pitch, and it's bewildering. And you have to, yes, there were moments. Obviously, every game, as Jack says as well, depends on moments. The Krejci, for me, I didn't think he did anything wrong, because I think that rule needs to be abolished. Why? Because we have a multi-ball system, so it actually doesn't waste any time. Even if I kick it into Rose Ed, it's not wasting any time. There's another ball there. Carry on. So it's not as though, why give a yellow card for that? I'm 100% sure he was just trying to get back and just clear the ball like a defender's supposed to. So it was. But yeah, when you're down the bottom.
Can I just come in on that? Because I think you make a really good point. I think what compounded that, which is what Jack mentioned earlier on and Emma's touched on, is the fact that there's 2 Crystal Palace players that could have easily been sent off. Will use 2 definitely bookable yellow cards. The referee gives him the benefit of the doubt. And the manager of Crystal Palace knows full well a next tackle is going off, subs him at half time. And the same referee seems so keen to send off Ladislav for that. That's what compounds it. And this is why people get so frustrated with the referee. It just seems like what Jack says, it's a different set of rules for us some of the time, Manu.
Yeah, it does happen, but you also know when you're down the bottom, it's every team will say nothing goes for us. Every team that's ever gone down or finished bottom will always say, and those moments, yeah, they didn't go for us. And there was, I mean, it was I agree, it was a nothing game, absolute nothing game in terms of if we were ever going to break the away day hoodoo, nearly a whole year without winning an away game. That was set up for us because it was a team that didn't go anywhere. They hardly laid a glove. Sarr didn't really have any saves to make. And yet here we are losing the game because of a couple of stupid moments, silly moments and poor decisions. But again, Palace walk away having not had to play well and they got the win. And that happens too much with our squad. It's dearth of quality, dearth of people knowing what they're supposed to be doing, what position they're playing, who does what, no leadership. These are the things that need addressing. A leader. You're our set piece taker. You're our penalty taker. You're the person I want on free kicks. These basic things that if you had a Sunday league team, that's the first thing you'd do. Yeah, you get right. Who's on penalty? You. Okay, what's your record like? Yeah, you're on penalty. He's on penalty. People, you're taking court. These are before you even do the tactics. It's like these are set in stone.
Do you put any blame on Rob for that?
Yes, I do. You know what? I'm always look. He's a nice guy. I do like him. And I think everyone deserves a chance. But if, say, for example, another 10 games goes past and we don't win a game, 1 win in 27, are you having a laugh? That can't happen. Nobody can survive that. And if he survives that, I think that's rubbish because you have to show something. You still have to show something. And at the moment, I'm still seeing like this. Yes, we've tightened up a little bit. We have a bit more of a formation where we're a bit more compact and hard to beat and maybe not concede a huge amount of goals. But I still struggle with the structure. And you see, this over-reliance. I know the league relies on it. I'm pretty sure at Compton, they only practice long throws. I'm going to bring yesterday. Palace started booing their own player for doing long throws, and he then started taking shorter ones, and they actually were better because it surprised Wolves, and they were putting balls and crosses in. So just mix it up. You can have the odd long throw, but imagine just only. It's like, okay, what we doing? Training long throws. Yeah, let's go long throws. The guy will need new shoulders in the summer. He'll need new shoulders. I mean, he's like bloody. He might as well enter in for the next Olympics because we did the shot put or the javelin. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Mate, I need to bring Emma in on this. I'm going to come back to you, but this is one of Emma's biggest bugbears. She's laughing, look, because she goes on about it the whole time. Bloody hell, another long throw. Now, I agree. There is a place for a long throw, but you do have to mix it up. But for me, a long throw as well, it's so looped up. It's easy to defend. The best long throws are the ones where they kind of come in like a cross. But Emma, I know that you're laughing because Manny's hit exactly one of your bugbears there, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, we had this conversation particularly before Arsenal because I was we got no height in the squad until Tolu came on. We were all pretty short, and when the team news came out, and I'm like, blinking heck, it's not like Arsenal aren't good at set pieces and stuff. How are we going to cope with this? But like the long throw, it's, well, as you know, it's my biggest bugbear. It's not done well. It rarely gets us anything at all, and we just seem to be doing it all the time. Like it's the first choice option, and it's like, oh, what a waste of time.
Yeah, what's your? I mean, I'm going to come back to Manny because I wanted to finish what I'm saying. But like, we're on the Rob Edwards, and then Jack, I will come to you on Rob as well. Where kind of you feeling with Rob at this point? He's been in charge for everything. We know he inherited a complete mess. We have improved under him. We've not got battered really by anyone. But obviously, and we got through in the players seem to be fighting and trying and putting in the effort, which is a minimum that you'd expect. But like, are you? Where
I'm completely undecided. I'm completely undecided. But if we don't win another game, for example, and we've only had one win in 27, that's horrific. That is horrific. That's like, you'd have to go back in history, like many years. That will be a horrific record. Now, on the other hand, we could beat Liverpool, end up in the quarter-final and get a decent draw, and suddenly, so something like that could end up kind of saving him. It's kind of, okay, but we've done really well. We've got to Wembley or whatever. But, I'm really undecided. But having said that, the thing that I'll put in his corner is the club surrendered. They put the white flag up in January. They got rid of any backup we had. Didn't really recruit for this season. Sort of accepted that we're not going to buy anything because we're not staying up, even though mathematically you could. So that is a clear sign of, like, that you're going to have a second half that's going to be terrible. It's going to be absolutely terrible, because players can sense that and think, because players in interviews have to say, we're going to fight till the very end, till the last point, and you never know, and blah, blah. Because that's what the situation was on 1st of January. Even though we knew they were going down, we still had this thing, well, if we win that one and they lose and we're only 8 points behind, and if we win, there's still 15 games to go. But the club surrendered. I think they surrendered. They said, we ain't staying up, so let's get rid of who we can. Let's get the money in now, which fair enough with people like Strand Larsen. But we didn't really recruit for this season, that's for sure. We didn't say, let's get Armstrong in. He'll fire the goals to maybe give us a chance. That wasn't the case, was it? Let's be honest. He's been brought because he's a championship player.
He's a proven chat, and I've seen some good signs from Armstrong, actually, especially as he's settling in the squad. He'll definitely have a shot at bringing players in. Emma, on Rob Edwards, and also, do you think they surrendered in January? Where are you with it, with Rob? What's your?
Well, I've been saying for a little while. Yeah, I've been saying for a little while, I am not convinced by Rob Edwards. I think there's a big question mark about whether he's the right person to take us forward into next season. Yes, I think he's been dealt a bad hand. I think in January, they went into the start of the window still not knowing whether they were going to buy and push. But by the end of the window, we'd still got no further on. And the decision was sort of made then that they weren't going to bring anyone in towards the end of the window. But I do think they left it late to see where we sat after a few more games. But I mean, I think the players like Rob Edwards. I think he's obviously a nice chap. They want to play for him. I think he's done better since Rui Silva's been his assistant. But I am honestly not convinced that Rob Edwards, if this season continues in the manner it is, yes, he's been dealt a bad hand, but I still think we should be doing better with what we've got. Like, one win all season, it's just not acceptable. I also worry about that momentum. If we are on this downward spiral as we come into the end of this season, we've seen it so many times before. It continues through pre-season. It continues into the next season. And what we can't afford to do is go 10, 12 games into next season and think, oh, have we made a mistake? Should we swap him? It's got to be right. And if they are genuinely targeting a return straight away to the Premier League, then I'm not saying he's got to go, but at the end of the season, it needs a proper review to see if he's still our best option. I'm going to add something else as well. I know I've talked a little bit too much. We have to remember that when we took Rob Edwards, he was the only one that wanted the job. Come the summer, we could be in a different position where there could be other choices.
Well, Dave Boyles has said 100% Emma. Jack, I'm going to come to you now, mate, if you don't mind. Where are you with Rob? I mean, it's a fair question to ask. I like Rob. I think he's a great guy. I think when Emma said the players like him, I think he's a people person. I think he really cares about Wolves, the club, the players, the fans. Okay, he made a bit of a mistake in terms of his post-match conference because that's, I understand what he was trying to say, but, when things aren't going well, those are the sort of things that fans are going to jump on. Jack, where are you with Rob at this point? 10 games to go.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think my thought would be I really want him to succeed because I watch a lot of football and I think personally, there's some horrible people involved in football now in terms of managers, players, agents, pundits, Rob Edwards is a really nice guy. He's got a massive social battery. He's got time for everyone. So my first choice would be he sticks around, he turns it around, and he gets us back up next year. That's the number one scenario. But football is a ruthless, results-driven business. And as much as we're sitting here saying, well, performances have got better, we're defending better, we're a little bit more organised. He's won one league game since he came in. And you look at, Vitor came in last year and won however many. Okay, he had a better squad to choose from, but he had a bigger impact than Rob's done. If we're being brutally honest. But
you probably would say that it's a better squad.
Yeah, absolutely. But the hand he's been dealt hasn't been great. And obviously, just reflecting on the January window, I think there was an element where let's get some things in order ready for the summer when the inevitable happens, and we've got some money in the bank so that we can get some business done early if we need to.
Would you say that's a sensible thing to do, though, in the circumstances that there's going to be a big overhaul and it's going to take? You needed to get rid of some of the dead wood or the attitude within the squad.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
or didn't want to play for us.
When we sort of arrived in January, I'd have struggled to think of players that would have come in that would have made enough of an impact to keep us up, essentially. I mean, you think back to when Lopetegui came in 2 or 3 years ago and he signed Cunha, Sarabia, Lamina, João Gomez, all in that January window. We were a lot closer to the safety line than we were now. So you're probably looking and thinking, well, we need even better players than those guys this time to give us any chance. And I don't think you're going to attract those kind of players when you sat on 5-6 points from 20 odd games. So I kind of understand from the club's perspective, kind of going, do you know what? We're probably not going to be able to bring the players in that are going to keep us up. So let's look at it a long-term view. And Larson, Agbadu, Arias aren't going to stick around for the Championship. So let's move them on now. Let's get maximum value before their value drops on relegation. Let's get the money in now. So that money's there for May, June to get transfers done. So I understand it, but it is frustrating. And obviously, as a supporter, you don't want to see your club kind of giving up halfway through a season. But I think we've also had that realism, haven't we, all the way through, really? I mean, I remember coming out of the Stadium of Light when we lost to Sunderland. When was that? September time, and thinking, yeah, we're not going to do any, So, but yeah, I think just going back to Rob, I think it's a difficult one because he does need to get some wins before the end of the season. Just because exactly what Emma said, when you sort of crash land into that Championship, if you're sort of uncertain about your manager and you've got players moving on and you're having to bring people in, and obviously there's that income change, and it's very easy, and I think you've seen it this year with a couple of the clubs, to kind of just keep spiraling downwards. What you need to do is kind of hit the ground running almost and kind of go, right, this has happened. We're in the Championship now, but we've got a manager we believe in. We've got a really good group of players. The fans are all behind us. We know the financial ramifications. We've sorted that. We're in a healthy position financially. Let's give it a really good go at getting straight back up at the first time. And I think you can do that, but it's very easy to kind of not do that. I mean, I think if you look at the three relegated clubs this year, Southampton kind of had to do a lot of business in the summer, and it's taken them the best part of the year to kind of get everything stable. Leicester have obviously crashed. And it took Ipswich, who were quite... They kept their manager, didn't they? And they lost one or two players, but kept a lot. It took them sort of 2, 3, 4 months to kind of really get into their groove in the champ. And now it looks like they're in with at least playoffs, if not possibly automatic. So it kind of goes either way, doesn't it? So I think there will be a conversation to be had at the top in terms of, is Rob the man for the job? And ultimately that will be dictated by results. The fact that he's, a nice guy and he knows the club and everything won't count for very much if we don't win another game. That's the brutal reality of it.
Yeah, well said. And I think everyone wants Rob to succeed for those reasons. I really want him to succeed because he proper loves the club and he wants to be a success. And he moved from Middlesbrough to take over the club. But there are a lot of people that are questioning him. There are people that are unsure. There's people that want him to go. For his own sake, if he can get some wins, beat Villa on Friday night, that's definitely going to help. And let's go as far in the FA Cup as we can. And, he's obviously got experience of bringing clubs back up out the Championship as well. He did it with Luton. He got Middlesbrough going this year as well. Now he inherited a decent squad there. So he's got form, but obviously he inherited a mess. And we have improved so that there's kind of like, he's in that sort of position at the moment where he needs a little bit of momentum with the wins and to get, he just does. So let's hope he does. But I think, like what you say, come the summer and they take a step back, I'm sure there'll be a look and saying, is this really the right person, or do we need to change now or not? So we'll see, won't we? But let's hope that he can do it because he's, like you say, he's a decent bloke. We're going to now talk. We are going to talk about the fan advisory board and season tickets coming up in a little bit, but we do need to talk about the racist abuse that was aimed at Tolu. You can talk about a player's performance on the pitch. And by the way, Tolu did come over to the away travelling fans at the end and put his hands up in the air to apologise because he missed that penalty. He knows it was important. It was a poor penalty. But since then, he's had so much online abuse. Wolves put a statement out, standing with Tolu, our striker, received disgusting racial abuse. They also put screenshots of some of the abuse that he got. Tolu himself said, it's unbelievable to me we're playing at a time where people have so much freedom to communicate with such racism without any consequences. These individuals have no place in our game. Collectively, we should take action to punish everyone who taints the sport like this. There's also been racial abuse at the weekend with 3 other players. I know Sunderland put a statement out there. So we're going to talk about that now. Both, as I say, both myself and Manny were on. Manny was on the breakfast show. I think I was on the Ed James show talking about this. Manny, if you've someone that's experienced this firsthand as well yourself, if you just want to make a comment on this from yesterday, mate.
There was the BBC said in November there was a weekend where there was over 2,000 comments aimed at players of a different colour, which would have been classed as racist and abusive in just one weekend. And now we've just seen 4 players. I mean, even go back 10 years, 20 years, obviously there was no social media about, but even when social media first came along, there was, if you heard one thing, it would be shocking. And now we've just seen 4 players abused for the colour of their skin. Criticised Tolu for the rubbish penalty. We've all done that. We've all thrown things at the telly when he's took that penalty. But for the colour of his skin, and it's redefining what racism is. Unfortunately for me, racism has been normalised, and those that words I used. It's normal to use certain words because people in control, people in power are a little bit loose with their tongue. They don't think before they speak, and people call it free speech. We even have people who respond back by calling them hurty words. It's ridiculous. You know, people lost life over racism. The P word, the N word. Oh, it's just a word. It's not just a word. And the problem is you can never punish somebody who isn't there. So these accounts aren't there. They're a picture of a footballer with just an acronym. There's no trace of who it is, really, let's be honest. And until you get complete transparency, and everybody who joins an account, a YouTube account, a Facebook account, a Twitter account, has to provide, you know, verification, phone numbers, email addresses, photo IDs, then you're responsible. That's your name against that comment. Until that happens, those people can be blocked, banned, reported, and in the morning set up again, ready to abuse the next person. And the other thing I want to add is online gambling is so prevalent now. You see people at matches, they're just like on the phones, putting bets on. Oh my God, so and so scored. Oh yeah, I needed him. And it's like they're so engrossed with, because it's on your fingertips. And I'm pretty sure, looking at some of the comments I saw, especially to a couple of the other players, is based on, like, you know, they're not even fans of the football club. They're nothing to do with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Probably somebody who's had Tolu as first goal scorer in the Wolves game. So I'm now going to abuse him because I've lost out, you know, because they're in this process.
Because they've lost money. Because
They'll probably never, they'll never go. This isn't, you know, and these people will keep hiding because it's easy, and social media companies will keep doing that because they just need traffic and the more people to join them as possible. And until football authorities, like I said this morning, go face to face with social media companies and say, we don't leave this room until you put a process in to stop people joining you to spout this crap. If I can put a safe search filter in that will stop me going to any website, I can put an algorithm in that fires adverts at me, you know, left, right, and centre. So there's so many tools available where if someone's writing a post and the connotations are abusive or racist, you shouldn't be able to press send. It should just stop you pressing send because the search engine, they've got this technology is out there. The appetite is not there.
You know what? 100% correct. I think I listened to your interview after I'd done mine earlier, and you basically pretty much said the same thing. It's like, and this isn't just about racism. This is about sexism. This is about homophobia. This is about hate in general. Yes. You've had, I mean, you know, I've never had that racist abuse like you have, but I've had some nasty abuse aimed at me because I've got a profile and there's people hiding behind things and being baited and all that sort of stuff. It's unacceptable. And all these people are like exactly what you say. They have got accounts. Pretty much a lot of them are faceless. They think they can get away with it. They don't realize that their IPs can actually get tracked as well. But the social media with the Premier League, you know, the fans can call it out. You can report it. But until the social media companies actually step up and actually, you know, can track properly who these people are, so they are fully accountable, so they cannot hide behind a screen and be vile and nasty and homophobic and sexist and racist and just nasty individuals that think they can get away with it. Until the social media step up and do this, like you say, they can just set up another account and go again and harass people. And what these people do not understand as well, Tolu is clearly a very, very strong individual. That he's come out, okay, he missed his penalty. You know, he'll take pelters for that, and people can completely criticize him for that. But like for the colour of his skin, and he's come out and highlighted it, and he's been brave to do that. You know, there are people that get abused in life that maybe are not so brave, that they stress about it, they get upset. People take their own lives because of these things. It ends up with them committing suicide or doing something and leaving a family and stuff like that. The consequences go far deeper and affect so many more people. It's completely abhorrent. It's unacceptable. And this channel, you know, will always stand up for, you know, for not accepting that sort of behavior. We've banned people from our channel in the comments for racist and abuse, and we will always stand for that. And this channel will always try to do that. And I know that a lot of other channels and a lot of other football fans and stuff will do that. Emma, I want to bring you in because obviously you're the founder as well of Girls in Old Gold, which is obviously, you know, women that follow football, the men's team, the women's team, but primarily that, you know, all the women in your group follow the men's team. And it's, you've been you've obviously experienced sexual discrimination in the past and sexism in football, which is why Girls in Old Gold. And I know you wanted to come on tonight to stand with the likes of everyone else, Manny and Tolu, to stand and say some words on that in terms of the hate and the racist abuse that these players have had.
Yeah, the whole thing just makes me so sad that in this day and age, people have such a low IQ that they think racism, abuse, hate, it is acceptable. Because let's face it, racism does come from low IQ. I think people think, I mean, Manny referred to it as hurty words. Hurty words have consequences. You mentioned I've experienced sex discrimination myself, and I know full well the extent and what it does to a person that general discrimination does. It's not fun. It's not nice. It's really, really unpleasant. And no one should be abused because of them as a person, and their identity. It's just not acceptable, and we have to go. We've just got to have zero tolerance for intolerance across the board. I mean, for me, it's just totally disappointing. You can be angry about the missed penalty, but that should not turn into hate and abuse. It's to me, it's totally absurd. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But I do admire Wolves. They acted quickly. They called it out. And that, as fans, that's all we can do, is if we see anything, any sort of inappropriate behaviour, anything unacceptable, we should be calling it out. We need to report it. We can't just think, oh, it's not my problem. We need to be reporting it because we need the statistics to show that this is happening and to what extent. But, I mean, that's my thing. I do agree also on social media, the anonymity is a major problem. And where else can you stand up and say these things publicly without, you know, without consequence? Only on social media. They are earning billions of pounds worth of money. There's AI technology out there that could help and deal with it. It shouldn't, and the other thing is, it shouldn't be taking 2-3 days to take stuff down. It should be instant. But without consequences, people will still do it, and people will still be thoughtless. It's disappointing. The whole thing just makes me really, really sad.
Yeah, and same as me. It's incredibly sad. Jack, can I just get your thoughts on this before we move on to the next subject, because it's so important that we do cover these issues on the channel.
Absolutely, I agree with everything everyone said, really. I mean, I think the key thing is that your words, whether they're spoken or typed, have responsibility. Whenever you put something out, whether you're talking to your friends at the pub, whether you're typing on X, Twitter, whatever, whether you're, on this channel, for example, there's a responsibility there for you to carry yourself in the proper way. And if you fall short of that, then there should be consequences. There absolutely should. And I think the social media companies need to do far, far more to make sure that anyone who's on their sites are who they say they are, and that they are traceable, and therefore they can carry out those consequences. And when we're talking about consequences, we're not saying suspend their account, because like Manny says, they'll just set up another one. We're talking about proper punishments for people that are as despicable as this, because that's the only way really that you kind of get any sort of chance of solving it, is by actually putting a deterrent in place and saying, if you are racist, if you are sexist, if you are homophobic, there will be a punishment and you will have to face the consequences of your actions. And that's the only way people will actually learn. Because like Manny says, if you say, oh, you've done something silly there, we're going to ban your account, they'll just set up another one and carry on doing it. So you've got to kind of have proper serious consequences. And people have got to remember that whatever you put out there, whether you're talking to someone, you're typing something, there's a responsibility for you to make the right choices. And people aren't making those right choices, because it is a choice. It is a choice, and they're making the wrong choice, and there's no consequences, and that's why they keep doing it.
Exactly. And, we always try to be a family-friendly channel, whereas we can give everyone an opportunity to talk about anything that they want, how the club is run, what their feelings are on the game, all of those things. And in the chat, have discussions and debate and stuff without people being nasty to each other. I just don't understand why people have to be nasty, or be nasty because someone has a different point of view. Because you get some people, because they have a different point of view or different tolerances or whatever, and then they try to ridicule that person and say that they're stupid or something, because this is football. People have different viewpoints on life and on football, different ways of seeing things. Everyone's voice is important, and discussion and debate is healthy, but abuse is not. And we will never stand for it here. And that's not, it's just unacceptable, because I've seen what it can do to people. And racist abuse is one of the most abhorrent, extreme versions of it. To call out a fellow human being just because they have a different colour skin is sick in this day and age. We all bleed red blood. We all are human beings. People need to learn to be more kind to each other and respectful. And until we get that, and until the social media companies step up and start, really making these accounts approachable, and people start to, have the repercussions of their actions, unfortunately, it's going to be difficult. So the only thing that I can say to everyone, if you see it, if you hear it, call it out, report it. Right, we're going to move on now to the fans advisory board meeting, which took place, I think, last week. The minutes. By the way, before I go on that, I do want to say Wolves get a lot of stick on stuff, but they reacted very, very quickly with the Tolu situation, so they do have to be commended for that. I agree with what's said. The fans advisory board meeting,
can I just add, they reacted bravely, because to post those comments with the words not blurred out, that takes some doing, because that's not, I couldn't read them. I had to get someone else to read them out to me, and then I said stop. But it was important, to show the kind of stuff that people receive, and fair play to them for doing that.
You do, because the club's coming for a lot of stick, on quite rightly on a lot of different issues, but you have to commend them for how quickly and, like you say, how bravely they reacted to that. Now, we are fortunate enough to have Jack with us tonight, who is a member of the fans advisory board. I'm just going to put on the screen now This is the Fans Advisory Board statement that was put out by the club. It said that the meeting was brought together interim executive chairman Nathan Shea, senior club staff with Fans Advisory representatives from across supporter groups. Nathan Shea provided an introduction update to club short, medium term, long term direction, including a Q&A session covering financial sustainability, infrastructure planning, support engagement. Members also received an update on the previous meeting, Progress 150th anniversary, and the wider fan engagement. A significant portion, it said, of the discussion focused on season ticket prices for the 2026-27 season. Fans Advisory Board members presented a compelling supportive feedback and survey data, with club representatives taking on board the points and proposals ahead of further discussions and decision-making process, which will include a follow-up meeting with the Fans Advisory Board. The meeting will also explore the opportunity to formulate heritage items. And as part of structured supporter engagement, the club is fully committed to regular open dialogue with the Fan Advisory Board for 3 seasons, with minutes going back to September. The latest meeting minutes were put up here. As you can see, the attendees were Nathan Shea, interim chairman, Matt Wild, director of football communication and administration, Max Fitzgerald's communications director, James Davis, head of ticketing, Dave Woods, fan services, and Chris Tagu, chief operating officer. The Fan Advisory Board members in attendance were Martin Wills from the Wolves Disability Association, Keith Bickley is the chairman of the 1877 Trust, and then Jonathan Keating, Jack Finch, who's present with us tonight, Lindsay Harris, and Marcus Pazant is an independent supporter, and the others represent the ticketing group, the matchday experience group, the equality group, and there was clearly an absent there from the head of the the retail section. So look, there is lots of things that have come out of this. The biggest thing that I think was concerned was this statement here, Jack, that's everyone's been very concerned with, although they've acknowledged the stuff that's been put through the trust and what's been put. Nathan said he acknowledged the strength of feeling, confirmed that no final decision had been made. He stressed that pricing was considered as part of a longer-term strategy rather than a single-season reaction, particularly at the club is targeting an immediate return to the Premier League. He also noted that communication around pricing structure must be handled carefully when the team is still competing in the season. I'm going to stop sharing now. That statement has caused alarm across fan groups, across fans, reading into it that, yeah, we're going to listen to you, but we're pretty much going to keep the season tickets the same. Jack, you were in that meeting, so the Fan Advisory Board is getting a bit of stick, as has the Trust recently. What's your take on that? Just on that, then I want to talk about the General Fan Advisory Board in a bit, if I can, because you're on it, so you know the people, and you can tell people what it was really like within that meeting.
Yeah, I thought it was a positive meeting. I think what was key was that it was pretty much they kind of handed over to us and said, well, what do you guys think would be a fair price to charge for Championship football next season, for adults, for 65 plus, for under 21s, for, you know, the concession prices. They presented us with a list of all the current 24 clubs in the Championship and what they were charging in their respective age categories and where we sort of thought we could kind of fit in. Obviously, we were very keen to point out our socio-economic context. You know, we're not a London club. We're not an affluent area. You know, there's a lot of deprivation in Wolverhampton, the Black Country. So our ticket prices should reflect that as well, as much as, you know, reflect the division that we're in, etc., etc. Obviously, we've talked a lot about concessions. Obviously, the concession prices went up significantly a couple of years ago. We managed to get them to roll back on that a little bit and then freeze them again this year. So we're obviously keen that, again, we get that future generation coming through, making sure that football is affordable for them as well. You know, because I think back to, obviously, when I was sort of, I think 7, when my dad took me to my first game. I think at the current prices, I think he'd struggle to do that now. And I find that really, really sad. So I'd really like us to kind of really push for those, you know, family tickets, junior tickets to kind of be really, really affordable, to get people in, get them, you know, addicted to Wolves and get them in, you know, embracing the club culture. and then you've got your future generation sorted then. So that's something that we were really, really pushing on. I think just on, obviously, Nathan's sort of idea around this long-term thing that people have kind of have looked at. I think the idea is, obviously, when we get relegated, the prices will be championship prices. But what we don't want to do is drop the prices to the championship level and then get promoted and just put them back up. So what we need is more of a reset and more of a constructive, what should we be charging for our football, so that if we're lucky enough to get promoted next year, the ticket prices in the Premier League in the following year can still be affordable and can still be acceptable and reasonable for supporters. Because I think there's still a really strong feeling amongst the supporters that the prices currently are too high. So what we're not going to do is just put them down for a year in the Championship and then put them back to where they are now, because that's not going to help anyone and that's not going to make anything go away. Is it? There's still going to be that resentment of the prices. So what do we do now to make sure that the prices are affordable next year in the Championship, but then also if and when we get promoted, there's a bit more of an opportunity there to kind of be constructive.
Can I just comment on that? Because a lot of people have read that slightly different to how you're explaining that now, because it's the way I'm reading how you're explaining that. They've read that we're not going to reduce or drop it might not reduce the prices at all, or not, a little bit, because we'll be back in the Premier League. So you're kind of saying that actually you're looking at dropping potentially dropping the price in the Championship, but also making sure that when and if we do go back the following year, it's not going to be as big a jump back up to where it is now. Is that kind of what you're saying? That's how you interpret it.
That's what a long-term strategy is, isn't it? I don't think that there's going to be just, okay, well, we're only going to be down for 1 year, so we'll tell you what we'll do. We'll remember what the prices are now. We'll drop them for a year and put them back up when we get promoted. That's not what they want to do. What they want is kind of more of a constructive conversation around what football prices should be at Wolverhampton Wanderers, what we should be charging relative to. I mean, if you go back to a couple of years ago when Jeff did his infamous benchmarking, he was benchmarking against Brighton. Now that's a completely different area. So you cannot, and we were sort of sat there, you cannot charge people in Wolverhampton the same prices as people in Brighton. You just can't, because of the economic climate in those particular areas. So it's about making sure that the football is right for Wolverhampton and right for our area and right for our fan base. So that's kind of where that long-term thing comes in, really. It's not so much a case of, well, we're going to get relegated, so let's come up with some prices for the Championship. And then if we're lucky enough to get promoted, but we already know what we can charge in the Premier League. It's not that. It's about, well, what can we do so that if we are lucky enough to be promoted, first time of asking, we can then put the prices at a better level when we're in the Premier League as well.
Interesting. Emma, and then Manny, just coming on any questions on regards that to Jack and what you take out of that.
I mean, I think that's good to hear, because I read the minutes and I didn't read it like that. So I would suggest that possibly the wording on those minutes wasn't the best for conveying what they actually meant. But I mean, for me, season tickets as a whole, we've had Nathan Shee come in. We're reportedly having a whole new direction, a whole different attitude. Well, January window wasn't the first test of that because of the position that we were in. But I think season ticket pricing is a fair test to see if the new leadership structure are listening to fans, are understanding our day-to-day concerns, and whether we really do have a new direction. And I think getting these season ticket prices is correct. I mean, I have said that I would like the Trust have done their own benchmarking and comparison to other clubs, and I think that should be made a lot more public so that people know exactly what to expect. Because if you follow on social media, people think we should be paying 400, 500, 600.
Is this benchmarking from the Trust that you're on about now that they've put to the
club?
Yeah,
I think the benchmarking from the Trust should come out. Maybe even from the club as well. I don't know whether they'll be willing to release that. probably through the fan advisory board and the minutes there. But I think we need more transparency, because on social media is such a wide range of opinions of where is a sensible price.
Manny, if you want to come in on that,
Yeah.
with what Jack's
I think the time is now. The season's gone. The season has gone. We can see that quite clearly. The time is now for the club to stop saying we haven't decided yet. Because literally, whether they say a few statements or have a few meetings, that's the kind of thing. At the end, they've said, "Oh, we haven't decided yet. We're still talking." I think the time is now to reveal whether they give you a set price. Is yes, we've got it wrong. We are gonna, pay back to our fan base who have been put through an absolute horrific season. Next week at Liverpool, plenty of general sale tickets. I clicked on. Somebody's got a couple of supporter numbers, clicked on, and they said, "Oh, it was 62 quid. I can't be bothered. I've got to take
you on about the league match on the Tuesday night?
Yeah, this league match. So he ain't going to go. The price is too high now. Forget the championship. Exactly what Jack said. The price is too high now. We've obliterated our season ticket waiting list, and we've got empty seats. Teams have been bottom of the league before, but they still fill the stadium because people think, well, it's a good crack with our mates. It gets us out the house. It's only 30 odd quid. Let's go down to the football, 40 odd quid. Paying 60 and 70 quid. It's horrific. So it's horrific now. And this is Wolves' acid test more than even the investment, the signing, the strategies, who the manager is. I think it's a huge acid test now for Nathan Shee. Actions, not words. Everyone said, you had meeting, Jack's had people have had meetings, and everyone's come out and said, right, we've had some good words, and now it's time for actions, like proper actions. There was one good action. Kids for a quid, Bournemouth game. And I hadn't seen that since championship days. I thought, wow, that's good.
They also, Manny, I was a bit surprised as well with the pricing structure for the Liverpool FA Cup match as well. That came out.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. And so maybe, okay, maybe they are thinking, we've just got to fill the stadium. Let's take a hit. Forget about income from match day. Let's take a hit on that. We've got to fill the stadium by hook or by crook. We've got to attract new people, new fans. Let's reduce, when kids used to come get a season ticket for 50 quid or whatever, young kids, let's get them back in the stadium. Now, they might have that, but they've got to release some of that. And it's time for now, because the anger will just rise. The anger will rise. People will get up. People are sick and tired. We've had one win in the best part of a year, and we still haven't really decided on ticket pricing. And then releasing that sound bite produced more negativity. Just keep your mouth shut then, if that's what you want to say. Don't say, I know Jack's explained it that way, but the club didn't. In their summary, they didn't. They didn't do it. That's what Jack's got.
This is exactly the point.
Yeah.
This is exactly it, because everyone's taken it in a different route. And then Jaff's come on here and said, well, actually, this is the thinking, because people will read into that, and there's so much uncertainty about at the moment with regards to this. Now, look, we were on the meeting. We went in that meeting as the fan group, and one of the things that they committed to doing was publishing the fans advisory board meeting a lot quicker, because previously they took 2-3 weeks to produce, so they got them out quicker, and also putting them on the front page of the website so people can see it when it goes out, rather than hiding them in the back end somewhere. They've done that. Obviously, they've committed to doing a bigger fans forum, bringing them back for up to 200 fans to go to as well, that anyone could go to. We were fortunate enough to go to that meeting, and I think when we were there with Nathan and all of them, they were, and Chris from the trust said that the people there were a lot different in their openness. I spoke to a girl from the hospitality at Molyneux Meet. We were both there the same day, Kylie. And as I say, I spoke to Kylie, and she said, Nathan, she had been round to their department for an hour, asked them about them, how they are, what's it like? What do they need to help? And I said to her, so how does he compare to Jeff? And she says, I never saw Jeff.
Chalk and cheese.
And she'd been working there for 15 months. She never saw Jeff. He'd been there for 6 weeks and he'd been around. So look, but quite rightly, these are all words. Actions need to be seen. Now they do have to go through due process because of the fans advisory board is the thing that they have to go through for checking it all. The next fans advisory board meeting is coming up pretty quick, Jack. Am I right? Is it the 7th of March or something like that?
Around about then, yeah, a couple of weeks' time, yeah.
So
Can I just add, can I just add, if like what Jack has said is, that's what he's got from the meeting, and there's a bit more positivity in let's make it more sustainable. So when we're back in the Premier League, we're not charged these astronomical prices that completely are not filling our stadium. Now, if the club are now seen the reaction, because I've seen the reaction, people are like up in arms, what the hell's all this about? Surely the club have a duty of care of saying, you misunderstood that summary. What you were saying with that summary, what that soundbite meant was this, that yes, we do recognise that we've got, they're still not releasing a pricing strategy. They're still not announcing prices, but they're giving you an explanation on what that actually meant. It was sort of up in the air, and then we all take what we think it means, and it's produced more negativity than positivity. That's up to the club to reiterate that, not us or anybody else.
I think that one paragraph read as they were getting their excuses in early.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that should have been picked up by Wolves before those minutes were released, because it's very difficult to have read that paragraph and interpreted it in the way that Jack's just said. Obviously, I'm not questioning Jack or anyone on the FAB. But Wolves should have been a lot clearer on that point in the minutes. That's what the purpose of the minutes is for, to disseminate information. And if you're giving out that wrong information, then
everyone, as I say, everyone's picked up on that one paragraph. Jeff, is that fair comment? And also, can I just also say, there are people that are itching, that are more than ready to bring back en masse the protests if they do not get this right. Like Manny said, I've said, Emma said, this season ticket pricing is an absolute acid test on has everything changed. How do you, from you being in that meeting with the fans advisory board with all those people, looking them in the eye and hearing it, do they understand that?
I think they do, yeah. I think sitting there and again, like I said, the fact that they kind of came to us and said, what do you guys think as supporters would be fair pricing for next season? That's a massive step forward, because previously it's been, these are the prices. Whereas this time it was like, actually, what would you pay? What do you think is acceptable? What do you think is reasonable? And so I think that's a big change and a big step forward. I think the club are well aware that obviously the season ticket pricing is the first real opportunity for this new era to kind of come out and make a statement. I think that's kind of clear as well. So again, and I take on board what Manny said. I think that the reason that nothing's been announced is obviously because technically we're still competing in the Premier League, and I don't understand what we're saying, but I think that's their thinking, is we don't want to announce season tickets for the Championship until we're mathematically a Championship club. So I think it will come, whenever that is. But I do think that the meeting was positive, and I do think they've listened, and I do think they understand that they've got to get it right. And I think
that's about 3 more games the way we're playing.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, and I think they do understand that if they don't get it right, then there will be a backlash, and there will be, people will quite rightly be unhappy with it. So, yeah.
Jack, make no mistake at all. There are people that are wanting and ready to go with there are people that want to protest now before even the season tickets out. There is an undercurrent to there. They just need that one excuse if they don't get it right, it will get toxic again. And this is why, it is so important, as Manny says, this is the first, and as Emma said, this is the first real acid test. Has it changed? Are they listening? And what the season ticket prices that you as a member of the fan advisory board, I'm sure you will take that back and re-emphasize that if they get it wrong, it's going to be a nightmare for. And I don't think any Wolves fan really wants that to happen.
No.
They just want to be treated with respect and to be listened to and to show that there is a change. And this is the big first opportunity that they can show that. So let's hope. There's just one other point on the fans advisory board. I don't know whether you want to talk about this, Emma, because I know you put an article out, and it's been talked about generally on the fans advisory board to help with the people that are on there, to help the people that are currently on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think the principle of a fans advisory board is honourable and it is grace. I don't think there has been enough transparency about it. I don't think a lot of fans even know what the fan advisory board is. I mean, we do because we're talking Wolves all the time, but I think there will be a lot that don't. I don't think there's enough people on that board. I don't think there's enough interaction between fans and the people on the board feeding back. I mean, Jack's great. He's come on here. He's talking about what was said. He's open about who he is. But there are plenty of people on that board that are a little bit anonymous. I'll say it now. I'm in one of the fan focus groups, and the representative from our group has never asked our group for any feedback, any thoughts, anything. So I just think there needs to be more people. They need to be accessible so that fans can raise concerns and feedback, and that it needs to be a two-way process. These people on this board need to be genuine representatives of the fan base. Jack's fabulous. He's open. But there are others there that aren't communicating and aren't liaising. They're a little bit faceless.
Manny, you're not in there.
I think there should be more accountability.
Yeah, you know what? It really is. I know what Emma's saying. That's really, really important because, they're representing 30,000 people in the stadium. And you know what? I don't envy any of them because that's a bit of a responsibility. They're doing it for no other reason than they love the club. These people love the club. Now, sometimes the love is really great, but you still have to be articulate. You still have to gauge feedback. Here Jack is. Jack's here, presented what he thought he saw, and he's now listened to all of our comments and a stream of live chat comments. 100%, we know he's going to be writing, noting all these down because he'll want them. Oh my God, I've got a reaction here. It's not very good. I think we need to rephrase what we really mean. But like Emma said, you can't just be there because you love the club. Can I join the board because I love the club? That's not enough. You have to be articulate. You have to be passionate. You have to put your point across, and then you have to feed back to the fans. People have asked me, I'm just completely busy. I haven't got 1 minute spare. I've got a platform myself because of the fundraising and stuff, and I'll always shout out and tell people, and it's got me into trouble in the past, but this ticket pricing is that same situation. We'll stand with the fans. We will say the right thing and by the fans because we're a fan foremost. I've got, people in my house. There's 3 season tickets we're paying for. And already so many people have told me, Manny, that's it. I'm not going next year. Just not going. Because they don't know. The only thing that will capture their imagination is, oh, hang on. Well, your son can go for 50 quid because he's under 14. What? Okay, I'm going to go. Attracts a new. And it's not a huge loss, and it brings back people. And if you start winning matches with a feel-good factor in a full stadium, nobody really cares what division they're in. Soon the euphoria grows. So this is the crux, this bit is the crux. So yeah, we do need more passionate people, but more articulate people, more people that are allowed, that can feedback, that can talk, that can present on forums like this.
Absolutely. So, Jack, I just want you to take on that. I know that the 1870 Trust, 77 Trust had a manifesto where the Fans Advisory Board thing, and it was brought up as well at the general the Fan Alliance meeting about the FAB being able to. And I think in the past you've been sort of had arms behind your back because that you're not allowed to say, but. How do you think there's going to be a change in how the fans, you come on here and talk, and you're open and doing it, and you're I think you're doing your job properly in regards to that. I think the Trust are trying to do that thing, but it doesn't tend to feed back into the groups that people are elected from. There doesn't seem to be any conversation before or afterwards. I hope you take that on as a fair comment on whether the people are allowed to do that or not in the past, and will there be a change going forward?
Can I just clarify? I'm not talking about just communication with those fan groups. It's the wider fan base as well. I mean, there's not even email. I mean, everyone on that fan advisory board could have an email address that, you know, they can be contacted for feedback from fans and thoughts. There just needs to be more listening, more engagement, more fan involvement. Really, they're our representatives.
Yeah, Jack, do you want to just come back on all of that, if you don't mind?
No, listen, like I said, I'm listening and learning, and that's you know what we can do. I think there's going to be a meeting in March, I think, with the Fan Alliance and the Trust, and I think the FAB are going to be part of that as well. And we're going to talk about fan engagement and how we can be better. I think just to kind of come on a couple of points that you've made there, I think we've always been quite cautious in kind of putting ourselves out there. I mean, I've said quite openly, listen, if people spot me at an away game or home game, come and have a chat with me. If you want to talk about Wall, you want to talk about Ticket Pro, you want to talk about this, and I'm always happy to listen and feedback anything that you guys kind of think is important. That's fine. But there is kind of a safeguarding element to that as well, isn't there? You know, so I think the club have always been kind of careful not to kind of overly publish who people are. I mean, a lot of other fan advisory boards, they kind of, it's names only with their fan advisory board as well. So there is an element of that, but we are learning, we are listening. I mean, it's what, we're 3 years in now, aren't we? I mean, I've done kind of my 3-year stint. I don't know whether it's going to carry on in next year. I don't know yet, but so, and we've kind of set it up to where it is now. And obviously, I think now we've got it set up, it will get better and better and better. So, but yeah, we'll definitely take on board everything that's been said, and I think particularly in kind of how we then feed back to the wider fan base. I think that's definitely something we could do more regularly, more, I don't know what the word would be, yeah, but more fully, if you like. So absolutely. But yeah, there's a meeting where I think everyone's going to sit and kind of, you know, air what we think needs to be improved, and we can kind of come up with a plan to improve it. And I think that's kind of, if you go onto the minutes from the meeting last week, where it says further fanning, that's what we're talking about there. There's going to be a fan engagement meeting where we're going to sit down and go, actually, what's not working? How do we make sure that it does work in the future?
Okay, and the meetings, anyone wants to read the minutes, you can go onto the, you know, I will literally put in the chat right now the link straight through to the minutes of that meeting. So if anyone wants to read those minutes, and you haven't been able
can I
to
just
see
add
them.
another thing? We just talked about racism, sexism. I'm not going into that, but I don't know this because I didn't see all those names on the fan advisory board and also the Fan Alliance. So there were two groups of people who have met our chairman. How many women were there in both groups?
Well, that's
how many?
Well, exactly.
No, how many? I don't know. I'm asking.
There is a lady called Lindsay on the fan advisory board. I know her. She's a nice lady.
Was she present at the meeting?
Yes.
So there was one. Okay.
Well, hopefully something will come with that with girls in old gold as well, because you're talking. I know that Emma's been talking to the EDI person on that side of things as well, from because Emma's also the Her Game 2 ambassador as well for Wolves, of course, on top. So hopefully the club will take these things on board. Jack, I will give you so much credit because you always come on as a fan. And when there's been a fan advisory board meeting, as well as you come on as well. Now, Jack's not been very, very well, as you know, and for a long, long, long time. And mate, it means a lot that you've come on, and what you've said tonight have been really insightful. So I hope some people take that away. We are going to move on now, just quickly to Villa, and if you've got any quick questions, and then Manny, before we finish off, I do want to talk about your fundraiser, give people updates. So. Emma, score prediction for Villa?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought that far. We usually do quite well against Villa at home, so we'll probably only lose by 1 or 2.
The Villa fans are they're always worried about Wolves because it doesn't matter how bad or whatever. We always seem to do them at Molineux. Jack?
Yeah, let's say we'll win to overtake Derby's record and just a little bit of positivity. It's Rob's old club as well, isn't it? So, you know, he'll be itching to kind of get one there, won't he? So, yeah, let's go 2-1.
2-1. Manny?
You know what? As football fans should never stop dreaming. Forget the club, forget who owns it, forget the ticket prices. You know, when you go to the match, never stop dreaming. I never do. And in 7 days, you know, we could beat Villa and be in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. That's what Rob needs.
I know.
That's what Rob needs. You know, so that is exactly what the club, the Rob, and then for Nathan to back that up with good pricing strategy. Those are actions and those are not words. So, yeah, let's go. You know, our best performance of the season for me was Villa away. I think, you know, we controlled the whole game and then they scored a screamer. So that was like when you saw that game, when I saw that game, I thought, oh, Rob could do something here. And then ever since, we've just completely been, you know, ridiculous really with our performances and some of it. So yeah, as a one-off game, we got a chance Friday night, you know, and what better, we've only got, like, we don't want to be the worst club in Premier League history, and what better club to beat to try and overtake that horrific Derby record. It's still going to be a rubbish season, we know that, but we got to hold on to those chinks and of light, you know, and I will always, you know, when I go to a game, it starts 0-0 and I still dream of beating the opposition and not just turning up just to go through the sort of rigmarole of being there. You might as well not be there. So, you know,
absolutely. And I tell you what, it's been done before. I think Wigan went down, won the FA Cup, Birmingham in the League Cup. Emma, you've had your hand up there on the comments.
Yeah, because I've just had a quick glance at the comment, and I want to call out Martin W909 for his sexist comments that having one woman on the FAB is one too many.
Ridiculous.
I don't know if he's been paid. I don't know if he's been paying any attention to this conversation that we've had today, but I've left his comment up there for you all to see.
That's ridiculous. I mean, what a statement to make.
But
it's only the women of Wolves who are making us proud right now with their football team.
Yeah, it's disappointing. And I have to say, sexism doesn't really, you know, it doesn't get talked about much because people put it down as banter. Ladies don't report it because they say it's part of the culture, but it's here, it's evidence. What's happening to our society?
Yeah, even in joke, it's not joke. It offends. It's like you know, there's all sorts of things, but you know, it's not funny. We've talked about racism and subliminal racism and subliminal sexism. It's all part of what's wrong. You need, and you know, whether you're joking or not, it upsets people. It's basically saying they're undervalued and they're not. Emma's on here.
That's the reason I brought it up. The reason I brought it up and asking you how many women were there, because somebody a woman came to me and said, Manny, why were there no women in that meeting? I said, I don't know. And I think it's shameful that no women was there.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm going to get that.
and
I'll get that.
yeah, so
Absolutely, you're absolutely right to make that statement, and it's something I've thought about as well. To be honest, Manny, so absolutely right. So anyway,
Martin, can I just say, Martin's had his right to reply. No, Martin, you're not being racist. It's sexist.
yeah, no one was saying he was racist. You'd honestly. Anyway, quick Q&A, and then Manny, we can finish with your thing. I don't know if you can answer this, Jack, or not. I think you've covered it anyway. But like, David Newman wants to know: can you give an example of the type of prices that we discussed? I think you can. You can't give any. I don't know what you can say to that you haven't already said. But if you just want to clarify.
Yes, I mean, like I said, we looked at what Championship clubs are charging at the minute, and kind of where we sort of see where we should be charging. So I know the Trust particularly looked at Birmingham and West Brom because it's in our area as well. So we looked at kind of what they were charging, particularly around concessions and what they were charging for junior tickets and for senior citizen tickets as well. So that was kind of what we were looking at in terms of, I don't like the word benchmarking, but that's kind of what we were kind of saying, right, well, that's what Middlesbrough are charging, Ipswich are charging, Southampton are charging, Leicester, Sheffield United, Sheffield. Where do we kind of see that? I've put the paper with all the prices somewhere. Otherwise, I could have given you a couple of examples. I think all the prices are out online anyway, aren't they? If you kind of go on clubs' websites, you can kind of see what they're charging. So yeah.
Can I ask you one question? Are you confident that prices will significantly reduce for people? Is that your vibe?
Like I said, it was a positive meeting, and I got the feeling that was potentially what could happen. Yeah, obviously I can't comment any further than that at the minute because obviously nothing's been decided. But that was the meeting was positive, and if you look at what Championship clubs are charging, if we go along with that, then yeah, that's what it'll be, won't it? But yeah.
West Bromwich Albion tickets for the 25-26 season started at £32 for adults, with tickets for under 14 starting from £7 and 65 pluses from 27. Season tickets were from £439 for adults.
Does it go up?
25-26. Well, that's where they start from.
The way they start from. Yeah, so guys, listen, I know we all want to know about season ticket prices. Jack's doing a great job coming on. The pressure will continue to ramp. We're just going to have to wait and see. I know people want to know, just have a little bit more patience for when that comes out. I guess, Jack, it's fair to say they will come back with their proposals on the 7th of March and then we'll know more from there. Yeah, is that a fair comment?
I think that's probably the plan, yeah. Obviously they've taken on board what we've said. They've looked at their own modelling. They've looked at other things, and then they'll come back and say, this is what we think we're going to charge for adults in this stand, in this stand, in this stand. And then it's up to us to kind of either push back or kind of, if we think the prices are whatever, then great. And then it's all about how it's communicated, isn't it? Because I think, like Manny said earlier, we've had one league win all season at home. And, it's been a rough couple of years, really, if we're being honest. So anyone who wants to renew and is willing to renew, I think, there needs to be a real, acknowledgement from the club of just what that loyalty is. So it's how we communicate that, isn't it? Next, that's going to be just as important.
Dave,
as
you asked me that under 14s at West Brom in any stand are £49 for a season ticket.
Yeah,
and under 17s are £90 for a season ticket in any stand.
Yeah.
The thing is, the younger fans as well. You don't want them wearing City and Arsenal and Liverpool shirts because they're winning. The future revenues of this club starts with building that loyalty to your local club, and then they become adults. They bring their kids, and that's how we've all been brought up. If you do not get the youngsters through the door, and they start supporting clubs in other cities, then you very rarely get them back. And we talked about legacy fans and overseas fans. Jeff loved them, and there's definitely a place for them. but you've got to keep your core fan base. And that means the youngsters need to be coming through, and it needs to be affordable for families, and it needs to be affordable for the working man and the working woman, for definite. So, Jack, thank you ever so much on that. Manny, finally, let's just give us an update on your latest crazy challenge of walking from Molyneux to the start line of the London Marathon, effectively doing, I think, 4 or 5 marathons without
6
sleep,
marathons.
and then doing the marathon.
Yeah, so it's 6 marathons back to back without any sleep. Yeah. It's I was with the fundraising manager for Dementia UK today, and you have to do a risk assessment. Risk assess that for it's just about ticking the dotting the I's and T's of who's available, who I can contact, who's going to be, just to pick up the pieces if it all goes wrong. So yeah, it's 60 odd days away now. I'm training. I did a 2.5 hour run on Sunday. But marathon plans, you're supposed to get up to a level, then taper down, refresh, restore, replenish, and be at some sort of level before you run the marathon. And obviously, I'm doing the complete opposite because I'm going to kill myself mentally and physically before I start the London Marathon. So yeah, I'll start on 24th of May. 24th of April. 24th of April on the Friday, and I haven't told anyone this, so I'm going to start at 6 o'clock in the morning. Exclusive there for you. 6 o'clock in the morning.
An exclusive.
On Friday.
6 a.m.
Yes, on Friday. 6 a.m. from Molyneux on the Friday, and I've got to run the London Marathon on the Sunday, and I've got to get there by walking. So it's ridiculous. It's going to mean I can't really hang about.
Are you having any?
The reason I did that.
Sleep at all?
Yeah, so no sleep, not at all, not a single second of sleep at any stage. Obviously, I'll stop and go to the toilet and change my socks and, have something to eat and that type of thing. But this all comes from, obviously, I did the 48-hour walk without any sleep, and I've walked to Chelsea before, and I've done the London Marathon, so I've just brought all the challenges together completely madly. Everyone's sort of shaking the head, just like you are in the family, especially. But I'm confident, and I know I'll do it. I just know I'll do it, even if I have to start now. It's a mental thing. It's something that I, internally that I practice, how to deal with the thought that tells you can't, how you process that, turn it around. And Jack knows, because I do these presentations in schools with school kids all over the country, how you have a relationship with your thought and how you can turn it around very quickly. And it's all downhill. Yes, thank you, Merv. I'm happy with that. It's all downhill. I'll just sit on a slide and it'll take me all the way down. So I'm currently working out my route. Hopefully, I'm going to use a bit of the canal. There's a canal that goes all the way to London, but it is quite long and quite sort of windy. Yeah. So a bit of canal walking, a bit of road walking, so it is going to be what it is, and I just thank the fan base again.
Your link, you can just WhatsApp me before I finish.
Yeah, I'll WhatsApp on the. I can. I'm using my phone at the moment. Yeah, I'm using my phone at the moment, I'm afraid. So, so.
And then, Jack, before we finish, if you can send it, I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, carry on supporting for the same cause, Dementia UK. A million people live with it, and Dementia UK got this passion of getting to 1,000 nurses by 2030. They're sort of at 500, so there's a big push now of really driving the awareness of the condition, of what's available there, first-hand help on the end of the phone and in person to help those families living with this condition. And we carry on, and Dave, I'm planning on doing a Samosa Saturday the week later. Because that's the only Saturday match available. Yeah, Sunderland. So that's our 25th. So it's really busy, and we'll keep going. Thank you for all the donations. I think we've added 3,600 quid already to the total. With 60 odd days to go. So Lots of help, lots of people sending amazing messages, and thank you for the support ongoing. And that's what drives me more than anything else, is the support of the people, the encouragement, the people who say you can do it, we believe in you, and then tell me messages about their loved ones who are going through this condition. We're losing too many people to this condition, and we just got to keep fighting.
100%, mate. And obviously we'll hopefully get you on another couple of times before the thing to keep them out. So if you can just drop us that link now.
I've dropped
I'm going to go.
I've already done it. I've done it. I've seen the comment.
Oh, she's
There you
clever,
go,
that
guys.
producer, isn't she?
She bloody well is. So you can find it on www.justgiving. If you listen to this back in the podcast, by the way, it's www.justgiving.com/fundraising/mkang. And it's up there for you now. Emma, just a quick, as we're finishing, just a quick update on Girls in Old Gold, please, and where you're at with that.
Okay, well, I've got about 150 ladies all telling me that that a group like this is very much needed. We have safe spaces that ladies can talk football without, where it's well moderated and they don't have to worry about backlash that you're a woman, what would you know, that type of thing. But it's also about advocating and championing for women. We do have some new branding coming. I've built the website. I'm hoping to launch that this week. I've had a few meetings with the club. We are members of the FSA already. In fact, I have a meeting with the FSA next week. As part of what I'm doing, I am a member of Women's Voices in the Men's Game, talking about women's experiences in football and what we can do to encourage women to feel safe and comfortable and enjoy the game of football as it is, like we should be able to.
Absolutely. And there's a Facebook page if you're a female Wolves fan that you can get on there. It's a safe space to talk about stuff. But from the website, any male advocates will be able to become advocates for women in football as well, and be ambassadors to support the ladies as well. Is that right? That's the plan.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. We are a female-focused fan group, but anyone that supports female voices and is happy to advocate to women will be welcome in our group, whatever sex and gender you are.
Fantastic. So stay tuned for that. I'm very proud of you for that, Emma. Jack, finally, I just want to say, mate, you're a really, really good person. You're a proper Wolves fan. You put yourself forward to be on these groups, to step forward and talk to the club. You always talk with complete sincerity and complete honesty. You have to deal with, you work at a school, you help children and youngsters in their lives. You have to deal with Crohn's, which is an awful disability, disabling disease at times. You've had to have operation on your arm for cancer, but you always step up. You always have a smile on your face, and you're always honest and open. And I mean this, mate. You're a really good guy, and I'm just so happy that you've got through that and that you're feeling a lot more yourself and healthier. And we do 100% wish you all the best with that and hope that everything is clear. Having someone that's gone through cancer myself with leukemia and gone through that process, I know exactly how that feels. So I'm glad that you're coming out the other side, pal.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And we all echo that. Well done, and just for the fans, don't aim your vitriol or hate at the people who represent us. Aim it at the people at the top. They're representing us, and if you're for that passionate that you want to be represented, step forward.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, that there's fan groups you can get on, experience groups that the clubs that anyone can apply to be on those. You can join the trust. You can get elected to the board on the trust. You can get involved in debate. You don't have to just sit there and throw stones. You can get, if you're really passionate, get involved and get yourself into a position where you can. Final question of the night. This is from John Robb, 6882. He wants to know how he can order his samosa.
Somebody rang me up the other day and said, Manny, how you doing? You don't know me, but can I have 50 onion bhajis, 20 pakoras, and 75 samosas? And I thought, I think you got the wrong number, mate. I said, I ain't got a shop. I ain't got a shop. And we just do it as a charity event. So thanks, honestly. We used to do, and Dave knows, Emma knows, we used to do it Samosa Saturday takeaway, didn't we? We used to deliver at people's houses during lockdown, which was a great success. So I don't particularly do that. People do. Local people have like rung me up and said, we've got a birthday party or a wake or something like, where they want some food, and they've rung me and they said, we'll make a donation, can you drop? So I have done little things. So just drop me a DM anyway, and I'll see what I can do for you. But no, I'm not takeaway. I don't cook them all the time.
Not just the delivery.
No.
Delivery.
I'm on my moped. I'm on my moped later doing deliveries all night.
Yeah, Cyborg, one of our members said, let me know when you go through Hatton Canal in Warwick. He'll be there. Paul Chapman says, good luck with your challenge, man. As always, I'll be there to see you on your way.
Thanks. I've just actually had a notification. Someone's made a donation through listening on here. So thank you, whoever that was.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And what I'll also do is after this, I will put the link, if you're watching it back, in the description of this video to Manny's fundraiser, and also the Girls in Old Gold Facebook for any ladies who are watching. And stay tuned, obviously, for the new website for that Emma's working on. And if you've enjoyed it, please hit us a like. Give us a follow. We will be following Manny's journey and hopefully having a couple of times. Hopefully, Jack, will you come back in 2-3 weeks to just give us the update on the fan advisory board meeting, if you would?
Yeah, just very, 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 very quickly. Carl asked a question in the chat about can people put questions forward to the FAB. If you go on the Wolves website and you go on the fan engagement, there's a box for contact the FAB, and it takes you to a Google form. And any questions that you put in there do get passed on to us, and we can raise them at the meetings. So if people have got something that they want to put forward, that's how you do it currently.
There's another link you can put on your description.
Yeah. Well, Jack, if you send me the link to that, if you can find it, I'll put it in the description as well. I missed that, so well done for spotting that. Listen, guys, I promised them it would be about 75 minutes, and we've run over, so apologies for that. But hopefully, there's a lot to cover tonight, so hopefully you found it really interesting and worth watching. And as I say, it will be out on the Always Wolves podcast to listen back, and there'll be loads of you that watch it back and catch up as well. A real big thanks to Manny, Jack, and Emma for coming on. Thank you for you guys for joining us and engaging with the conversation. And obviously, we look forward to reading the comments as well. For those of you that are watching it back on catch up, we'll be back next Sunday night with the next extra time, and obviously all the content that generally comes up in and around the games. And Manny, I look forward to speaking to you at least 2 or 3 more times before you go on your crazy journey. And we'll keep everyone updated with what's happening with his fundraiser and how he's getting on with that as well. And Jack, as always, brilliant to have you on, and so many people. I've had a few messages on WhatsApp as well to say how wonderful it is to see you. So all the best to you all. God bless you all, and always Wolves.
Always Wolves.